Everybody ready? Uh, No, kids, just realize that just because there might not be a lot of people in the audience, it is being live streamed and it's being recorded, so there will be a lot of views on this. Okay, here we go. Smithfield Town Council, December 6, 2021. Madam Clerk, will you lead us in the prayer and the pledge, please? Roll call.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here. All right, so what we have tonight is a very special treat. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, I went to a concert at the high school where the band and the choir were performing, and I was so impressed, I thought it would be a great idea if we could ask the choir to come out here and sing a couple of songs for the holiday season. So I reached out to Miss McAdam, and she agreed, and so here we are. So no further ado, Miss McAdam, if you want to take over.
As part of a fundraiser that we're doing next Sunday. It is a caroling fundraiser where people can basically pay for a visit from the carolers, and it helps raise money for our music department and for our upcoming Disney trip. So I'm happy to say that I'm actually not soliciting more people for our caroling fundraiser. We are sold out. So I'm super happy about that, and thank you for giving us the chance to practice.
And on without end their joyful tone to every home. dong, merrily up high, the Christmas bells are ringing. Ding dong, heaven earth reply, with angel voices singing. Gloria, Gloria, sing glory to the highest. Gloria, sing glory to the highest. Brightly shone the moon that night, though the frost was cruel. When a poor man came inside, gathering winter fuel. Ding dong, Wenceslas looked down on the feast of Stephen, when the snow lay round about, deep and crisp and even. Gloria, Gloria, sing glory to the highest. Gloria, sing glory to the highest.
Before you guys leave, CJ, could you just pass the mic and maybe everybody could just introduce themselves? I mean, because trust me, there are a lot of people watching this, live streaming, and it's recorded, so there'll be a couple of hundred, if not more than that, that will see this.
I'm Jacqueline Vincent.
I'm Sadie Crozier.
I'm Julia Mandeville.
I'm Emily Mandeville.
I'm Calla Pacetti. I'm Madison Riley.
I'm Allison Wildgoose.
I'm Brianna Robidoux. I'm Sarah Duffy.
I'm Carla Sutton.
I'm Rachel Reel.
I'm Nick Lamoureux.
I'm Brandon Purell.
I'm Noah Dadgis.
I'm Nick Marseglia.
I'm Theo Bazin.
I'm Karen Eustace.
I'm Michael Vizdas.
I'm Maya Letizia. I'm Greg Casey.
I'm Nick Carafel.
I'm Zachary Vincent.
I'm Ryan Denton.
I'm Haley Hoyle.
Mr. Beauregard, children, before you leave, I'd like to share something with you. I'm trying to control myself. I think I cried during
Push your mic on.
I've seen you, many of you, as children at Halliwell. As I look at you and listen to each note, it's brought unbelievable joy to my heart. You are now men and women. Many of you will be graduating. And I expect you to help make this world a better place. If they won't listen, sing them to death. God bless you all.
We'll take 2 minutes. Continue. Open forum pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 42-46-6. Is there anybody out here tonight that would like to be heard in open forum? No? Okay, let's move on. We're just going to make one quick change to the agenda. We're going to move new business B. Discussion by council vote or other action on Parks and Recreation. North Smithfield Heritage Association is sponsoring a parade for the North Smithfield 150th anniversary on May 7th. So, come on up, Kate.
Good evening, everyone. Like Mr. President stated, Parks and Rec, along with the North Smithfield Heritage Association, we are looking to hold a town parade for the sesquicentennial anniversary of North Smithfield, which was March 2021. And we will be a little bit over that date. We're proposing a date of Saturday, May 7th. We would have a rain date, hopefully, of the following Sunday, which would be on May 14th. We did want to hold it on May 8th because that was Mother's Day. We're proposing a kickoff at 11 a.m. We are in the very, very beginning stages of planning this parade. We are hoping that it's going to be about an hour in length. This is just a very rough, simple outline, just so that the council is aware of what we're proposing. The route, we are hoping to start it at Brigitto's Plaza with their permission to use their parking lot in the back because we need ample space for the parade route to set up and dismantle at the end. So from there, we would march south down Route 146A, which I call Victory Highway, turning right onto Green Street, marching up Green Street, turning right onto North Main Street, and then ending at the starting point, which would be Brigitto's Plaza. Next, Rich Keene put together some milestones, so if you just want to take a moment and read those. Down on March 1st, it says organized divisions and marshals. We did have a meeting prior, and we spoke to Patrick Griffin, his name, who runs the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Pawtucket. April Lombardi is in contact with him, and he gave us really a great idea of what it takes to put a parade together. So a division is called, what was it called? Division. It just means segment. Right, I'm thinking like if you don't know what division in a parade is, which I didn't, there are different segments to it, and each segment or division would have to have someone looking over that specific division. He explained that in Providence when they do it, they have 10 divisions. We're looking to have 5, so about half the size. On the next slide, we have the committee members so far. I was nominated as co-chair, along with Rich Keene from the NSHA, April Lombardi, Christian De Rosales, and Lily. And we are going to start looking to have some more members join us. It's open to everybody, anybody that's a resident in town that has any interest or would like to help out. And so right now, at this very beginning stage of this, that's what we're looking at. Anybody have any questions I could answer?
Who would they contact if there was somebody that wanted to volunteer as a committee member?
They can contact myself or Rich.
Okay.
Or anybody on that list.
Okay.
Anybody else? I think that's great. You and Rich are doing this because you guys don't have a lot to do already, you know. But good job. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Yeah, we're just hoping the town council will support this
100%.
initiative.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, gonna go back to the top of the agenda. Proposed amendment to the North Smithfield zoning ordinance map for establishment of a historic district for assessor plat 15, lot 81, 28 Grange Road, the Malvery House. Jeff, I noticed, where are you? Oh, there you are. You want to come up, Jeff? As requested, I remember last week there was some discussion about getting a letter from the property owner, and that we have it. It's in the packet as requested, so I think we're ready to go forward.
She's here. Irene is here. I don't have anything else to really add unless you.
Okay, thank you. I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing at this time.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So this is the second reading. Mr. Harris, you want to just
Yeah,
give us a quick synopsis of what we discussed?
So we're looking to nominate as an individual property, the Malavery House, as it's called, which is Irene Nebaker's property, 28 Grange Road. And that'll be under the auspices of the North Smithfield Historic District Commission rules and regulations going forward. There's really not much more to it.
No, we just have to do the second reading, so.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions?
I do. Can I have I have a question. So putting this into a historic district, which is just one lot, I mean, is that like spot zoning? And can we do this just because of the historic value of this property? Like, what's the difference of spot zoning versus just doing a historic district of one house? I guess that was a question for Mr. Igliozzi. I wanted to try and get you before.
The authorizes creating a historic district around as little as one lot.
So as long as it's the historic value, then you can do that.
It doesn't change the zone though, does it, Dave? That's the issue. You're creating a district but not changing the zone.
Okay.
And the state statute specifically authorizes this process.
Okay. All right, thank you. That was my question.
Mr. Keene, did you want to add to this? Yeah, please.
Rich Keene, 7 Bamford Street. Back in 1980, the Rhode Island Historic Preservation Commission did a preliminary survey of all the historic buildings in North Smithfield. Since that survey, 14 or 15 of those buildings have been demolished or destroyed, either intentionally or not intentionally. By nominating these historic buildings for as a historic preservation district or historic district, we're better able to preserve some of the oldest buildings that we have left in town. So this is very important. That's why the Heritage Association and the Historic District asked Mrs. Nebaker if she would allow us or allow the town council to create this district. She has one of the oldest houses left in North Smithfield. So, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, as Rich said, I mean, that's a really good point that we're trying to bring here is this will not be the last time that we're gonna go through this process. As a matter of fact, Rich and I have, working with the Heritage Association together, we've taken that 1980 survey, looked at a lot of these properties, and are looking to get some more that are added that the owners are willing, and we have spoken with the owners too. They are willing to make this process happen. They want to see their properties maintained, historically preserved in ad infinitum. We are also working Grange Road specifically. I currently, you might have heard about it, I currently have gotten a CLG grant, which for a Historic District Commission, it's a certified local government grant. It's allowable because we are a certified local government, the Historic District Commission in town. So we are able to lean on those grant fundings, and it's put on by the Rhode Island Historic Preservation Commission, the state, and we're currently surveying Grange Road itself all the properties that would be historic in nature, to try to make as many properties of that as part of a National Historic District. Now, I won't bore you to death there's a difference between a National Historic District and a local historic district. Local Historic District falls under the under the rules and regulations of the Local Historic District Commission. The National Historic District is another set altogether. We're not overseeing those properties as much as a federal would. If you have a highway or a bridge or some kind of large development that's federally authorized going through your property, being a nationally recognized historic property or district gives you some protection against them putting that road right through your property. So that's the difference there. But that's under pursuing, and as a matter of fact, we had an RFP out for the CLG grant, and I got no responses. So I gotta go through the process here again. But we're hoping.
Jeff, so what happens if, to a house when it's in the historic district? What does that mean as far as what they can and cannot do to
In
their...
a local historic
Yeah,
district?
local.
There's general stipulation. We only look at the exterior. It's an objective, not a subjective decision. It's met by 7 members of a board who deliberate whether it fits in with the scale and the massing of the property. If you want to put an addition on, we're not against anybody doing anything they want to do with their properties. We just want to make sure that it fits in with the historical character, not only of the property itself, but the surrounding neighborhood as well. Because we have Union Village, when you come through Union Village, everybody, that's a great place to go and travel and run through. And you say, wow, look at these beautiful, great houses along the, and even, you go down School Street or Green Street, North Main Street, a lot of really historic properties there. It's an old town. And, as far as I can recall still, I believe people still have this notion that, we're a rural community and people like the rural character this town. I know I personally do. And I know a lot of the people in town do, because they come to me and they want to know what's happening to properties that are next to them who are within a historic district. So there's definitely something to be said about that.
I think that's one of the reasons why so many people move to town. They come from all over, Pawtucket, Woonsocket, Central
Right.
Falls, all those bigger cities. They want to come to a rural area.
Right.
Mr. President, just so, when we renovated the town hall is in a historic district. We had to go to the Historic District Commission for even things like changing the windows to make sure that they were in compliance, that they met, so we didn't change the outlook of the building. Right down to screening of other things that we added, like the transformer and stuff like that. We still have to finish some of those things, but we had to go to the Historic District Commission, and they say, yep, you can do this, here are the conditions. You can do this, here are the conditions. And so they do the same thing with homeowners in the historic districts.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, does the house have to be in a historic district in order to take advantage of the historic district residence tax credit program?
What we are established through that ordinance is anyone located, any property within a National Historic District or an individual National Historic Register property, we have a few of those in town, or a local historic district will be eligible for that historic residence tax credit program. I'm working with Jennifer St. George on trying to establish the program guidelines. We've so far had a successful first meeting, and we're really trying to get into the guts of it, of how we're going to. I put together a list of the properties that would be able to take advantage of that program. We have to figure out sort of how much can we, do we do like a 3-month where if somebody applies and then we have a month to deliberate and say we take the top 5 priorities that we want to, because there's a huge cost issue here. So we're trying to balance all these factors into it. So, I don't expect 100 properties to come at us at once looking to take advantage of this historic residence. Because a lot of properties, to be honest, if you're within the Slatersville National Historic District, there's a lot of properties. And this goes down Main Street, goes up North Main Street. down Green Street, part of School Street, before you get into Forestdale National Historic District. And a lot of those properties are what we consider contributing or non-contributing. There's a lot of non-contributing properties there, which just means that they really don't have historic value in terms of, you know, some great president came and visited the place, or some, like the Peleg Arnold Tavern we have on the corner of Woonsocket Hill Road. Peleg Arnold is a very historic character, not only just in this town, but for the state of Rhode Island. And so we want to protect those aspects, and that's a very contributing property, which also happens to fall as an individual National Register property and is in our local historic district. So you have those things that you have to balance and weigh of how we're going to go forward with our program. But we're trying to put together the necessary guidelines to follow here to make this program work effectively and efficiently and within means of revenue and et cetera for the town.
Anything else? Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Would anybody like to make a motion on this second reading?
Close the public hearing.
No, to propose to approve.
Gotta close the public hearing.
I'm getting ahead of myself, I apologize. We'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you. Second? Thank you. Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Now would anybody like to make a motion?
Mr. President,
Ms. Alice?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the application for the local historic district for 28 Grange Road, Plat 15, Lot 81, into record as a local historic district.
That's a motion. We have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thanks. Thank you. Old business. Discussion by council, vote or other action, and update of Municipal Building Review Task Force. Mr. Nordstrom's not here. Did you want to just go past that one?
We're waiting for some updated numbers from Tecton. We had a meeting with them last week, and they listened to the concerns of the council and the residents of the community on the new police station. They did some value engineering work. They presented it to the task force last Wednesday. We kicked back some other stuff, so now they're working up to get up I don't want to call it a proposal, but a new cost in square footage
Okay.
for it.
All right, great.
We're waiting to get that, and when we get it, we'll present it to the council, I'm sure.
Do you know when they expect to get it to us?
Excuse me?
Do you know when they expect to get it to us?
We're just waiting for them to come in. When we met with them, they were doing some stuff. They were gonna put a cover letter on it and send it out, and then I guess the task force is gonna review it and then present it with a recommendation to the council. We should have it probably by the next meeting, not the 13th, but the 20th.
Thank you. Discuss by council, vote or other action, and update of Halliwell Review Committee. Mr. Corriveau, you have anything for us this week?
Other than us meeting last Thursday, we did get the final report from Weston and Sampson with the executive summary. We reviewed that, and then we just went over our joint meeting for next Monday with the town council.
Thank you. Discuss with my council, vote or other action, on update of St. Paul Street Bridge. I just asked this to be, this was one of the things that we agreed we would roll over some stuff that we do on the council to get updates on it. Mr. Zelinski, do you have any new information on this for us?
Mr. President, if you've had the opportunity to drive down St. Paul Street, you are hit with a barrage of signs warning you of the height, low bridge. 9 signs have been installed by Rhode Island Department of Transportation, and it's very effective. You just can't miss it. And so that's about it. The signs are up, and I don't know what else to say. Let's just hope that the drivers are paying attention and they realize the height of their trailers.
Have you looked at that bridge coming from the Blackstone side?
I have, actually, I was out there today.
There's that sign that's about 2 feet by 8 feet, and it's
Huge.
crushed already. It's a brand new sign, it's already been hit by a truck.
Yep, I was out there today looking at it, just see what was going on.
I'm like, how much bigger can it be? It's yellow, it's gotta be 2 feet, at least 2 feet
Oh, yeah,
by 10 feet?
yeah, it's been hit,
With a height
solidly
restriction, and
hit.
it's all bent up already. Someone already hit it.
No kidding. Well, we can't do anything about that side of the bridge, I guess. All right, thanks for the update. New business, discussion by council vote of action on abatements. Mr. Jesus, did you want to take this?
Yes, I will. The tax assessor, Jen St. George, could not make it tonight, so she asked me to speak on her behalf. She's asking the town council to approve a supplemental bill amount of $3,532.85 and an abatement amount of $1,031.43.
Okay, does anybody have any questions?
Cynthia, I just had a question
Yes.
on this. So,
Mhm.
one of the supplementals is the same account number
Mhm.
as the abatement, like,
She actually explained that to me. So the first one, account number 070395-50, was overassessed, and then as of 12/31/2021, and as it was overassessed when the CO came in a couple of months ago, she realized that it was overassessed, so what she did is she did an abatement, and then she did a supplemental for the correct amount, so it would show on the bill the abatement and then the correct amount. She wanted to show a history and a trail for it. So basically, that's what it was.
Anyone else have any questions?
Mr. President,
Ms. Alves?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the supplemental tax of $3,532.85 per the recommendation of the finance director and the tax assessor.
That's a motion, we have a second?
Second.
You get that? Okay.
There's 2 seconds.
2 seconds. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Mr. President,
Ms. Alves?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the abatements in the amount of $1,031.43 per the recommendation of the finance director and the tax assessor.
That's a motion, we have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Discussion by council vote of the action on tax penalty adjustments. Mr. Jesus?
Again, these are taxpayers that went to the collection agency, and I will be asking the town council to approve proposed adjustments for penalties of the amount of $1,329.32.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Jesus? Motion to approve?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the penalty adjustments of $1,329.32 for the recommendation of the finance director.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second for discussion.
Mr. Vadney?
Mr. Jesus, on that list, the last 5 of them, this is a current business, correct, in town?
Yes, it is.
And we're listed as allowance for doubtful account?
Yes, he was sent a collection notice and came in person and spoke to the assistant tax collector and asked to be considered to be on a sliding scale of penalty adjustments, and so he is been put on the list.
Anything else, Ms. Vadney? Paul, you good?
Yep.
Okay,
She answered the question.
okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to approve? Oh, we did. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Okay, now we're gonna get into the discussion by council vote or other action on appointments to town boards and commissions. So this is what we'll do again, as we've done in the past. So I will read off the committee. If somebody has someone that they would like to nominate, we'll put their name down as a nomination. And then we'll come back. They only need one person to make a nomination. Then we'll come back, and we'll go back up to the list, to the top of the list, and we'll see if anybody wants to second it. If there's a second, we'll call the vote. If there's no second, we'll move on to the next person. Okay? So, let's begin with the Asset Management Committee. This is an appointment by the Town Council. It's 1 5-year term that will expire 11/30/26. Does anybody like to make a nomination to that committee? Okay, Joanne, we'll roll that over. Okay, we're gonna roll that one over. Keep that one open. The Board of Canvassers, appointed by the Town Council. 1 6-year term that will expire February 28th, 2028. Would anybody like to make a nomination on that one?
Mr. President,
Ms. Alice?
I would like to make a motion to reappoint Gary Lapierre for the 6-year term that would expire on February 28th of 2028.
That's a motion. We're just gonna wait and see if there's any seconds, but hold on to that one. So we'll put him. Is there anybody else would like to make a nomination for the Board of Canvassers? Okay, so let's go back to Mr. Lapierre, and do we have a second for Mr. Lapierre? Second, any further discussion?
Under discussion, it doesn't change the mix of that board, right? It's still 2 and 1, which it can be 2 Democrats or 2 Republicans, but one of the other. Can't be all the same party, correct? And this doesn't change that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, roll call for Mr. Lapierre.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, Budget Committee, another Town Council appointment. We have 2 positions. We have 2 3-year terms that will expire on 11/30/24. We have a resignation that created an opening. So would anybody like to make any nominations to the Budget Committee?
Mr. President,
Ms. Alice?
I'd like to reappoint Christine Early to the 3-year term that will expire on November 30th of 2024.
Okay, put her on the list, please. Does anybody have anybody else that would like to nominate for the Budget Committee? Okay, roll call for Christine Early, please.
Get a second. Get a second.
Okay, but I'm really getting ahead of myself tonight, aren't I? You know what it is? There's a football game that it's going on. It's going to be going. That don't.
Who's playing, Mr. President?
Houston and Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll be in a rush to go see that, yeah.
So you can understand my. All right. So Claire seconded that. So any discussion now on that one? Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Mr. President, could we, well, let's take the resignation, and then I'll make another action after.
Okay. We have a resignation that's in your packet for. Where am I over here? Mr. James Rowe. He sent an email.
Mr. Rowe is going to continue to serve until January 1st.
Okay. So
January 1st.
We'll hold off then. Okay.
All right.
So then that'll do it. So that's the 2, right? There's not a. We're good there. Yeah. So that would be technically a total of 3 terms. So there's another position
There's a full 3-year term, and then the completion of his, one more year on his term.
in January. Right. Okay, so there is one more spot open that we should, okay, would anybody like to nominate anybody else for that position?
Mr. President, shouldn't we just be advertising some of these positions and get more applications? Because we have some people that follow the procedure and submit applications and resumes, and just putting someone's name in there who we don't know. I would much rather get
Oh, I agree.
some resumes and applications than
We've
just
had,
putting
you've had an
people.
ad, been in the breeze.
Yeah, I was, if we can just keep advertising, because, I mean, some people follow the procedure and they send in applications and resumes, and other people, we don't even know who they are and they're being put on board. So I'd like to kind of try and stick with the procedure and see if we can try and get someone.
Yeah, I agree. I think some of these that we're nominating are people that are already on the boards.
Right, I'm talking about new people.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay. Ms. Igliozzi?
Mr. President, again, just a kind of a side issue I wanted to, of these boards and commissions, I wanted to mention to the council. The administrator, and I've had discussions in the past, that I think the council should consider that whenever you appoint somebody to a board, there should be some sort of orientation. Obviously, they should understand what compliance with the Open Meetings Act is, they should understand what the ethics requirements are, and they should understand, obviously, the scope of the responsibility of their board. And they should understand what the APRA is and how they could potentially, for instance, a very simple example is they start using their personal phone in the context of the business is potentially subject to the APRA. So they should be oriented in how to handle records that they create, how to handle open meetings, and actually how to where their responsibility is under the charter. I just throw that out because I know in the past we've had some issues because, as you know, these boards and commissions are not staffed by the clerk. They staff themselves many times. And so a lot of times the boards, commissions may not be up to snuff on those provisions.
I'd go one step further and say that regardless if they've been veterans of the committees or not, that every 2 years, coterminous with the new town council, everybody, including the new town council, the new school committee, everybody, all elected officials should attend exactly that meeting.
Well, we were running those in COVID first aside, but we were running those every time the council was appointed.
Yeah, we should get back at that.
But we would, I would think as a council, though, you could mandate boards and commissions that they have to attend, at least acknowledge those provisions. I throw that out because.
No, I think, yeah, I agree.
I've run into some problems with some boards because they don't have any clerk support. And so they're not aware of those kinds of provisions. Some thoughts, I just want to throw that out since you're on this list.
I agree. Give me 1 second. All right, so why don't we do this then? Since we don't, there's nobody on, no current members of the Economic Development or these other, I'll go down if there's a current member, we can see if they want to continue. But if there's not a current member and there's no application, we won't take names. Okay? And that'll also help move it along a little bit. So, the Economic Development, there is an opening, however, that nobody requested it.
Mr. President, there is a very qualified individual that I've been trying to cajole.
I think I know who you mean.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Dependent on business, just to type some business matters, I think that, well, and there's been no one else, by the way. Actually, there was another moving out of town. Forgive me, there's been 2. So let's call it a work in process, work in progress.
Okay. So let's move on to the Historic District Commission. This is also a town council appointment. We have three three-year terms that will expire 11/30/24, and we do have existing members that are requesting to be reappointed.
Mr. President, I make a motion to reappoint Jeff Harris, Dan Kuchar, and Christian D. Resendez to 3-year terms that would expire on 11/30/2024.
Okay, you got those names? We're gonna do them one at a time, though, but you got all those names? Would anybody else like, oh, well, we don't have any other applications, so. Okay, we're gonna get back, I was just asking if there's another one. So let's start at the top then. Do we have a second for Mr. Harris?
Second.
Okay, roll call?
Yes.
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 Yes. Do we have a second for Danielle Kutu?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. And do we have a second for Mr. D. Resendez?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Next is the Juvenile Hearing Board, and we do have applications for this one.
Mr. President?
Ms. Alice?
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Jason Proctor to Juvenile Hearing Board with a three-year term that would expire on 11/30/2024.
Okay. Well, since these are the only two, do we have a second for Mr. Proctor? Second. Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 You have two terms on that board, though. Two
Mr.
seats that are
President,
open.
I'd like to make a
We have another
motion
one.
to reappoint Daniel Taylor to the three-year term that would expire on 11/30/2024.
I'm sorry,
He's already on.
oh, he's already on, okay. Okay, so we have Mr. Taylor, because there is one other name, there is one other application. Does anybody else have anybody they'd like to nominate? Okay, roll call for Mr. Taylor, please.
You have a second, Mr. President?
Stupid football game. Do we have a second for Mr. Taylor, please? Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. The Personnel Board, this is a Town Administrator appointment. And this, Mr. Connell, he did reach out and said, and indicated that he was not interested in being reappointed.
Do not have an application at the moment, Mr. President, but as you move down, we also are looking at, Maureen Donnelly is looking to be reappointed, so that's kind of an easy one.
Okay.
So it's up to the council to make that.
Okay.
Appointed by you?
Yeah, to approve it. I just,
He
basically,
appoints it,
let me rephrase.
we ratify it.
Yeah, so basically, what I'm saying is Maureen Donnelly would be reappointed, and of course, town council is going to ratify it or approve it.
So moved.
2-year or 3-year? 3-year. Let's just move her up to 3-year. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Vadney made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Moving on to the Planning Board. 1 5-year term that will expire on 11/30/2026, and we do have a existing member that would like to be appointed, and no other applications.
Mr. President, I'd like to recommend for appointment Mike Fournier to the Planning Board for a 5-year term that will expire 11/30/2026.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Roland Menard to a one-year term on the planning board that would expire on 11/30/2022.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. So that does leave one opening for an alternate, correct? For the planning board? Okay.
Mr. President, if I might, through you to the town clerk to send Catherine Kennedy a letter of thank you for her service. She was on the Conservation Commission, she stepped into a planning position, and businesses, just a thank you letter would be nice.
Okay.
Gratitude.
I was gonna, when we were done, I was gonna recommend to the clerk that we send one to Cheryl Marandola, Jeff Butler, and Bill
Yes.
Cornell as well for their service to the town.
And
Good
Jim
catch,
Rowe.
Stan.
And Jim Rowe.
Oh, he hasn't resigned yet.
Well, it's pretty much
I was
done
getting
for the
to
rest
that
of the
point,
year.
but yeah.
While you're at it.
Maybe he'll change his mind, you know.
Well, maybe if we send him a letter, he'll say, oh, that was nice, and won't resign.
There you go.
The clerk's office always sends out a
Yes.
letter when we receive an application, if they, we cannot fill it with their name, we send them an application, a letter of, thank you for applying for the
Mhm.
position, and then we also send a thank you, participating, so.
Thank you.
Okay, if you flip over to the other side, we have the Public Art Advisory Committee. A completion of a 2-year term that would expire on 11/30/22. But we don't have any applications for that, so we'll just move on.
Do we have two vacancies because people have stepped back from their appointment, or was it ever a full committee?
One person didn't work out, and the other person, and the other position just never was filled. But if you look, I mean, they've really done a great job, you know. If you just look around the building, they're very busy. Public Safety Commission. We have one 3-year term that would expire on 11/30/24.
Mr. President, I'd like
Ms.
to make a
Alves?
motion to reappoint Sean Russo to a 3-year term that will expire on 11/30/2024 to the Public Safety Commission.
Okay, we're not gonna take the second yet, because we do have another application, so just put Sean Russo up there. Do we have any other nominations? Okay, let's go back then. Do we have a second for Sean Russo? We have a second? Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Sewer Commission. One 5-year term that would expire 11/30/26, and the completion of one 5-year term that would expire on 11/30/24. And we also have, Mr. Devereaux does not wish to be reappointed. So we don't have any names for the Sewer Commission, so we'll roll that one over too. And last but not least, the Zoning Board.
Mr. President, I would like to nominate Vincent Marcantonio for one 5-year term that will expire 11/30/26.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. And we have a position for the first alternate. Would anybody like to make a motion?
Mr. President,
Ms.
I'd
Alves?
like to make a motion to reappoint Gail Denomi as the first alternate to the zoning board with a 1-year term that would expire on 11/30/2022.
Do we have a second? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm getting confused. All right, so do we have a second for Mr. Nomi?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. And then we have the position of the second alternate.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Christopher DeZiel as a second alternate to the zoning board for a one-year term that would expire on 11/30/2022.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. So we'll address those openings as they come up. If you get applications, if you get an application, we'll put it on the agenda. Okay?
Can I just ask one question?
Of course.
So, on Vincent Marcantonio, so if we just appointed him to another 5-year term, like, how many years is he up to? Don't we have the ceiling of 10 years?
There's a statute of 10 years.
Talking about that, we're gonna look on his application and see how far it goes back.
Okay.
I think what may have happened, Mr. Marcantonio was, he had a break in continuous service, if I remember correctly, and that's why he was appointed the last time, so he may have another 5-year term.
Okay.
But there was, I believe there was a break there.
Can we just confirm that before we?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We made an amendment to the
We
statute.
made an amendment that is two consecutive 5-year terms, so if someone came in and filled the term, they still have two
Yeah.
5-year terms.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're not putting someone in.
Right.
So if it stands and everything's okay, we can.
Subject to.
Subject to, yeah.
Subject to your compliance with the ordinance.
All right, discussion by council vote or other action on payment of invoices. Mr. Jesus?
I received the following invoices from the school committee. They were all approved by the committee and by Mr. Seepy. One is for the field turf in the amount of $549,493.60. There was also a change order for the field turf attached also. It's number 2. I don't remember getting number 1.
I was gonna ask that question. I'm aware of it, but I don't think it's ever come across this
It
desk
has,
over
I've
here.
never received it.
But I was aware of it because when they took the turf and the track apart, they found that they didn't need to do something that they thought they had to, so they gave a credit on it. They gave a change
this
order
is-
to reduce the amount because when they peeled off the turf, the proper setting was underneath. They didn't have to remediate something that they thought was there. That it was already there. It was okay. I'm aware of it, but like I say, I didn't think it came across here,
It
but I'm like,
didn't.
sometimes I forget, you know.
And it has a previous change order, it has it there, it's $80,231, and then this change order, that was a negative, a reduction, and then there was, this change order was in the amount of $14,000. And I do not have the change order 1. So I don't know if you all want me to table this part, and we can get 1 and 2 on the next council meeting, or,
Well, I also have a question, because if, on this invoice of the change order 2, it says, it shows the previous reduction, so it shows that the total contract's only $950,000, but yet the AIA document is still looking for the full payment of the $549 and the $467, so I just don't want to release that second payment.
right. This is the first payment.
This is the
Yeah,
first
I
payment.
know, but I'm just
Yes.
saying, you know,
I'll make sure I have that, I'll ask them about that too.
because this has all been, you know, signed off in October and stuff, so I just want to make sure we're not going to overpay.
Right. And they will be reimbursing us for this. This is not coming out of town funds, by the way. This come out of school funds,
It's out of their surplus.
right?
So this
So
company.
once I pay, I send Lisa, the business manager there, an invoice, and she'll release the money back to us.
So this company did all this work and didn't ask for any upfront money?
No.
Wow.
Wow.
They normally,
And I-
normally in a construction process, there's no upfront money. They bill at when they get to a certain level, they bill. And so, because they did all the demolition work, and then the supplies weren't there because of the whatever reason they want to give for it, whether it's the pandemic or not, they didn't and so it sat there and they didn't do any work. But then they were in there working from the middle of October. They were working there 6 days a week. They were
Yeah.
there on Saturdays, laying down, fixing the track and whatnot, waiting for the carpet to come in. And so they bill the guys that are watching it for us, like we had Target Engineering looking at it, I believe, or Travis Landscape Architects was overseeing it for the school department in the town. And so they'll review it and say, no, these are the amounts that you've met at that date. The change orders are kind of irrelevant, but I would approve change order, I would make a motion that we approve change order number 2. It's been signed off by all parties, and so it's appropriate. We can request that we see change order number 1 before we make final payment, and I would even say we could make this payment. It's half of the amount, and the town has the full field except for a few punch list items. So it's not like they haven't done the work. Carpet is down, they've already used it, the track is down, it looks great. I don't know if anyone's gone up there to see it. And right now, we're only looking to pay half of the total amount. And so I would say we can approve change order 2, we can pay rec number 1, but we want to see change order number 1 before we make final payment on this.
So you said you know about the change order, you know about it. Why do you know about it? And
Alan had given me a heads up that it came in lower. I had talked to him about something else, and he had said, I just want to let you know that there's a change order coming that they didn't find. They thought there was something that they had to do, and they didn't have to do it. It was okay. It didn't need to be replaced. So he said, there's going to be a change order coming. That's the only reason I knew about it. That's why I say I haven't seen it. I didn't think that it came across the table, but he did mention it to me when I was having a discussion, because I asked him, I said, what was going on with the field? It was behind, but the contract stated that if they had supply issues, they could extend the time frame.
so is the project considered done? I know they had a game on it, and I know
He still has a punch list item, from my understanding. There's still a few punch list items that he has on there. That's why I say I would be okay approving this change order number 2. I want to see change order number 1 so we can take an official action on it. I would be okay with paying pay rec number 1 that they submitted at the end of October, because they do have half the job done, if not more. But before we make final payment, make sure that the punch list is done and that we have change order number 1. That's how I would do it. And that's A and C are the two different, the stuff from STV, DPM, that's different work that they're doing at the school.
It's just that by not approving, by going out of order, it doesn't, on paper, the paper trail doesn't say how we got to where we are here.
The change orders are not reflected in that pay rec,
Okay,
but the work that's in the pay rec was done.
okay.
The percentage of work in the pay rec was done, so that's why I say before you see the final payment with the pay rec that they submit, it should show the 2 change orders, the 80 credit and the 14 plus.
Okay,
They should show those before we make final payment on them.
I'd be good with that. Anybody else? Mr. Bennett, if you want to make the motion.
So the only amount we're approving right now, or making a motion for, is the 14,000?
No.
No.
Is that-
I'll make a motion that we approve contract change order number 2 in the amount of $14,000 to Field Turf USA.
Okay. All right, that's a motion. Do we have a second? I'll second it. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Alves?
no.
Mr. Corriveau?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara?
Yes.
Mr. Vadnez,
Yes.
Ms. Beauregard?
Yes.
The second B is the STV invoice number 900222521. Again, it was approved by the school committee and the facilities director, Mr. Alan Seepy, and also the superintendent, and it's for the amount of $114. And I believe that is the last of the project that they were having with the labs and the elementary school and all that. So I'm hoping this is the last invoice for that, since it's dated October.
President, I'd like to make a motion to approve STV DPM invoice number 900-22521 dated 10/19/2021 in the amount of $114 and has been approved by all parties at the school.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Howe?
Yes.
Mr. Corriveau?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara? Yes. Mr. Badney?
Yes.
Mr. Beauregard?
Yes.
Yes. And I already went over C, which was, I kind of went ahead of myself. That was the invoice for the field turf. And that's in the amount of, did you already vote on? No, they voted on the change order.
549,493.60.
Yeah, just on the change order. And that was in the amount of $549,493.60. That will be coming out of the school revolving account, but will be reimbursed by the school.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the application for payment to, where's their name now? Field Turf USA, Inc., dated 10/31/21 in the amount of $549,493.60.
All right, do we have a second on that?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion?
Just if you read that, there's still a balance of 467 plus, and the town is holding $28,000 in retainage, almost $30,000 in retainage on this project, so the work is done, and so the punch list is, there's no way there's $500,000 of
No,
work
I'm
on their
sure.
punch list.
I'm sure.
And so I think we're safe to pay this and get it moving. It's ironic, because it's Field Turf USA, but you notice the address is in Canada. Company is based out of Canada.
That's just good marketing.
Huh?
That's just good marketing.
Mr. Badney, like I just expressed, I just want to make sure we pay attention when we pay this final invoice, because the balance isn't 467 that we have to pay them, so I just want to make
It's
sure
gonna
that
change.
there's, yeah, so we just need to make
Mhm.
sure we keep an eye on that.
Right, you'll have to look at lines 1, 2, 3, and 4
Yep.
at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
know how to read 'em.
But I would still go with the same thing, that until we see, and we approve change order number 1, we don't pay rec number 2 or whatever, till we get the rest of the paperwork in line.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this? Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Letter D is a payment number 5 to Architectural Preservation Group for the Forestdale Schoolhouse.
Mr. Harris. By the way, congratulations on your reappointment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of work out there. This payment is for $92,902.82. That is essentially the closing of the contract we have for the exterior restoration phase of the schoolhouse. It's actually Phase 1, as we're calling it, because there's several other items that need to be addressed. We need to replace the stairs on the west side, and we're looking at grant funding this year to do a ramp or possibly a lift. The quotes we got for a ramp are extraordinary, shall we say, and we could probably do an exterior enclosed lift for less money, the way that I see the cost. I could be wrong, but this is a prevailing wage project, so that's why these costs are always on the higher echelon of, I wish it wasn't, but we have some window sashes. There's 9 window sashes left to restore. All the exterior has been painted and cleaned up. If you've seen the building, you see driving by. We've got some stuff that we're doing in-house, such as we're stripping the brick. We'll get back to that in the spring. Several other items that we're working with the Department of Public Works. They helped us put in a sidewalk to the back staircase that's gonna go back in. There's a few other exterior parts that we wanna accomplish before we move to the interior. And the interior is mostly going to be a lot of in-house work. between Rich and I, discussions that we've had, the members that we have are pretty gung-ho, and they get to work. You've seen what they did at Memorial Town Building with the painting, et cetera. Charlie Dubois does an awesome job of getting the crew together, and we've done some refinishing the floors. Heritage Hall, the same, so we think we can handle a majority of the interior. There's a few items in the interior that we need to probably bring in some other, but that's further down the road. We're looking at possibly, we have some monies that are left over. We'd like to leverage that money for grants that we're going for. We're looking at Champlin and 1772 Foundation. Champlin doesn't require a matching grant, but 1772 Foundation does. So we're looking to use that monies we have left over as leverage for matching funds. And we've already sent out a preliminary letter of inquiry to them. We're waiting to hear back whether we can file that to get the monies, to actually apply for the grant. Champlin, we're working on that now. They're opening up December 15th. January 15th, we've got to have all our documents in there if they allow us to apply there too. We've got a letter of inquiry I think that they want as well. But what we're looking at is we have a small project of restoring the sashes, one of the lower end of the dollar ticket items, and we're looking at possibly doing a change order. We're in communication with the contractor that we've worked, APG, who's done an outstanding job. Very good with historic preservation projects. As a matter of fact, he's doing some work on the Malavery house, Irene's house, that we got him over there to do, and does. I've known him in the business for a while. He's awesome. But we're thinking about extending a change order with some of the monies we have left over, but not taking too much of our leftover monies to go towards doing those sashes. We haven't come up with it yet, but that's a long-winded way of explaining what's going on with the schoolhouse at the moment and where we're at and where we're going.
Of the 213,000, about 70% of that was grant monies, weren't they?
Yes, and we did 3 change orders too. That's the bulk of, which brought it up to, I think, the 200.
Yeah, the 213, but I'm just saying that about 70% of the funding on this project has come from grants.
That's correct. It was Champlin. We got a state preservation grant from the Rhode Island Historical Preservation and Heritage Commission, and 1772 Foundation. We're leaning on them again. Hope we get some monies for that, so.
They like to see if you have matching money, that you've got some.
They do like to know that you
skin in
have.
the game too, they want to see that.
Absolutely, and whether, regardless that we have, Champlin does not require matching funds, they want to know that you have some skin in the game.
Yeah, they don't want to be the only ice foot in the bill.
So the 92,902, it comes from town funds?
That is,
Both, because the town, okay. Okay. Would anybody like to make a motion?
Mr. President,
Ms. Alice?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the APG Payment 5 for the Forestdale Schoolhouse exterior restoration project in the amount of $92,902.82 as approved or recommended by Jeff Harris.
Thank you. We have a second? Any further discussion or questions? Roll call?
Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Corriveau?
Yes.
O'Hara? Yes. Mr. Donahue?
Yes.
Beauregard?
Yes. I think that's everything. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
All in favor?